new moon in Gemini, that is Sidereal Gemini, this June 28th, 2022. In this video, we're going to be talking all about this new moon and what it's asking us to do over this next period. So if you are new here, hey, Danny Simuniz, your spiritual designer, helping you find clarity on your spiritual journey. One of my favorite things to do is to help people understand, remember who they are through the lens of astrology, so that we can clear away those generational paradigms, those limiting beliefs, those ancestral patterns that no longer serve us, embrace the ones that do, and design a life that truly honors who you are. So today we are going to talk about our new moon on June 28th, 2022 in Sidereal Gemini. So if you're like, wait a minute, I keep hearing that it's a Cancer new moon, Danny. What are you talking about, girl? Are you crazy? Well, in sidereal astrology, it is different. It's a little bit different. How we look at the sky is slightly different. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up our chart for this new moon so you can see what I am looking at. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull this. There we go. So you should be able to see it now. And as you can see, let's go ahead and locate before we get any further. I'm going to locate where our moon and sun is. Now, this is June 28th, 22. This is the casting, right? I casted this chart for this specific time, which is June 28th at 10:54 p.m. in Austin, Texas. So if you are in another state outside of this time zone, it's going to be slightly different for you. But this is showing our chart for this 10:54 p.m. here in Austin, which means in Pacific time zone, this would be 8:54. In Eastern, it would be 11:54. In Mountain, it would be 9:54, right? So we've got, we got our chart here. So the first thing we want to look for is this sun and moon, right? The symbol for our sun is the circle with the dot. And then this, looks like a moon there, right? The crescent moon here. This combination here, when they are together, which in astrology is called a conjunction, when they are right next to each other in the same degree, as you can see here, 13 degrees, that means this is the full potency, the 100% togetherness of the new moon, of the sun and the moon together. Now remember, a new moon is when our sun and moon are together in the same zodiac sign at the same degree. Our consciousness and our subconsciousness are aligned. They are together. They are supporting each other, which is why a new moon period is the absolute perfect time to set an intention for what it is you wish to call in, what it is you wish to release, what it is you desire in your life. Now, if you've been following my videos, if you've been following me for a while, if you've worked with me, you know that I'm all about designing a life that honors you, right? So this is why we have this information. So we know, okay, this is what's going on. How am I going to use this information, right? Every week I do an energy forecast so you can hear what the energy is going to be, where we're going to be at, what's going on, so that you can take this information and use it to your advantage. Knowledge is power, my friend. Okay, so we have our sun and our moon here in 13 degrees, and this is the zodiac sign of Gemini. We're in Gemini still. Our sun is still in Gemini. Our moon has just moved into Gemini yesterday. So this is a new moon in Gemini. So you can see from this chart, this is, I'm not just, pulling this out of air. This is what my chart is showing me here using the system of Western sidereal astrology. Okay. So There's a couple of things that we first want to talk about. With any new moon, it sets up a 6-month period. Okay, it opens a portal, so to speak, of this new moon energy being in Gemini. So we won't see this new moon in Gemini again for at least another 6 months. Okay, so if that's the case, then we're opening up this time frame with this intention. Now, some of the intentions that we set with our new moon are intentions that we're looking for within these next few weeks, right? Within this period before we hit our next new moon, which will be in Cancer. Or we might look at it as a longer period of time that we want to work through this intention, okay? So a couple of things that I first want to say about the new moon is that the new moon is a time to set intentions. It's a time of new beginnings. And being in the sign of Gemini, right, this is all a mental activity here. This is the thinking aspect of it. It's our mental body. And so some intentions that have to do with our thinking, with our learning, with our sharing of information, with our communication, right? Gemini is the communicator. It is the social sign. So anything like that, anything that you are working on, anything that you want to call into your life around those areas, 100%, this is the new moon to do it with, right? This is the opening of that 6-month period for you, right? This is a beautiful, beautiful time for you to work on any of those things. Now, there's a couple of things that this particular chart shows, and there's particular things that it doesn't show. So I will be bringing up another chart in just a second that is going to show you another thing that we want to look at for this new moon. This particular chart does not show it, so I have to go to another thing to look at it. But let me go ahead and show you what we also want to look at here. So we also want to look at what is this sun and moon combination? How is it relating to some of the other planets on here? And because we have this red line here, which is a square to Jupiter, right? This is an aspect, a square to Jupiter. And that square is working with, right, the communication, so to speak, between the sun and the moon and Jupiter. So if we look at it, Jupiter, the planet of growth and expansion, right? It's the optimist planet, right? It's very positive. It's very cheerful. It is like wanting to just be generous, right? Be giving. Like it's just so happy. It's just so positive. It just wants to expand, 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 right? It loves to just expand things for us. Now, with this new moon, and we're talking about, right, all the things that Gemini rules, which is our communication, our thinking, our education, like how we learn, like our learning styles, contracts even. I didn't talk about that, right? Contracts as well. All these different ideas is what this new moon is asking us to look at. So have you been having problems in communication? Are you wanting to make a shift in how you're communicating things and how you're showing up, right? Some throat chakra stuff here. Are you maybe wanting to put yourself out there as an educator, as a sharer, as a content creator, right? Are you wanting to learn, right? Is there something, a new skill that you're wanting to learn? Is there a belief that you have about a certain skill that maybe you think you possess or don't possess, right? Is that maybe something that you want to look at? Jupiter is here to help really boost that optimism about it, really expand it and grow it for you so that you can make whatever shift, whatever change, design your life the way you want it. So I would definitely take a look at this new moon and say, okay, so this is calling me to expand and to grow in a particular area of my life. Which area is that going to be best for me? Now, this particular new moon, right, we can see according to this chart in Gemini is in our 5th house. Now, It's not for all of us though. If we pull a particular natal chart, we pull a transit chart, right? That shows where this new moon is actually out for your chart. It's going to be slightly different. And we can get even more specific about maybe where that communication, maybe where that learning, maybe where that education and that sharing is specific for you, where it wants to grow for you. As a matter of fact, I did a reading last night for one of my clients and, broke it down for her where this new moon is for her and how she can use it. And we also looked at my chart, right? Because I was showing her some different things. And we looked at my chart, and it is definitely the way that it is showing up in my chart is for me to grow and expand in my presence, in who I am and how I'm showing up in this world. That is, I'm definitely being called to step it up a notch, right? To up my game, and I'm feeling it in the stars, right? The stars are guiding me. They're telling me, yep, Danny, this is the time to do it. I was already kind of feeling that. So sometimes we feel the thing that it is that we want to shift and make changes in our life, or something's happened where we get kind of slapped in the face with it, right? And this just kind of confirms it for us, or says like, okay, we're on the right path, or wow, I was thinking about this, but maybe I should relook at this, and maybe this is the area that I want to set this new intention around, right? Because we want to work with the energy, not against it, right? Work with the energy, right? Not against it. Okay, so the other thing, let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen for a second, is let me go ahead and pull up this other chart that I want to show you, because there's another thing that this chart doesn't show that is really, really, really shifting what this new moon is about. All right, so here is our chart, and you can see it's the same exact chart, right? We have our sun and moon over here in Gemini, right? In the 5th house, making the square to Jupiter, who is currently in Pisces, right? Now, you'll see that in this chart, we see another little symbol hanging out right here with our sun and moon. And that is this guy right here, right? It's like a black crescent moon with like a little cross or a plus sign, right? At the very bottom. This is Black Moon Lilith. This is actually, Black Moon Lilith is actually not a planet. It is a point in the sky. It is actually the furthest point of where our moon orbits, okay? So it is very much on the outside. It is kind of like in the dark, so to speak. But this is a very, very important point. Where we see this placement, right, whether we're looking at a natal chart or a transit chart, is really asking us to look at another aspect of us, another side of us, more commonly known as our shadow side. The side that many of us don't want to look at, the side that many of us have probably looked at as we entered this spiritual journey, right? It's the parts of us that we hide, that we keep hidden, and there may be many, many, many reasons why we do this, okay? So Black Moon Lilith, with this new moon being conjunct, which means its energies are all merging together, this is asking us, my friend, to look at that shadow side of us. Now, one of the things I love about this is we talked about how our moon, right, being our subconscious, and our sun being our conscious, and those being aligned during a new moon, right? So we've got that alignment, which is really, really beautiful. Now, we add in this other aspect of the shadow self, the part of us that really seeks the freedom and liberation, although we might necessarily not be doing that through the best of ways, okay? I want you to think of that too. We might not be doing it through the best of ways. That would be like, past Danny back in the day, where she used to manipulate situations and manipulate people to get what she wanted. Now, was I consciously sitting there being like, how can I make this so that this happens and this happens and this works and that works? No, I wasn't consciously thinking of that. It was all subconscious. It was run through my subconscious beliefs, which is creating the actions, allowing me to show up and speak and approach and do things in a certain way, right? I was unconscious of it. I brought it to consciousness so that I could look at it and be like, whoa, girl, this is what you've been doing. And that allowed me so much freedom and liberation, because I was able to look at it and be like, well, that's interesting. Well, how do I want to continue to do it this way? Or do I want to do it a different way? Is this helping me or is this harming me? Is this getting me closer to what I desire, or is this pulling me back more? Is this helping me become more of a whole me than a separate me? You see, when we only look at one aspect of ourselves, the part that we love about ourselves, the part that we show everybody, right? The good part of us, so to speak, it's only showing part of us. We also want to look at the other part of us, the part we don't show others, the part we don't even want to acknowledge ourselves. Trust me, my friend, I understand this. I have many times looked at this part of myself. It is not pretty sometimes. It is not pretty for me to think of myself in that way. But my friend, that is me. And I can sit here and you can be like, Danny, you seem really nice and really great. And I'll agree. Yeah, I am pretty nice and I am pretty great. I'm very loving and very caring. However, there is a part of me that has a lot of frustration and a lot of anger and a lot of misconstrued beliefs and concepts that I've had to work through to understand, to say, well, how do I want to deal with this now? I don't want to think that I'm a brat. I used to be called a brat growing up. My brothers used to call me a brat. I think they even bought me like a necklace that said brat, right? It was very, it was, you know, they were joking, right? It was a big joke, but in a lot of ways, right? It was true. I was a brat and I know I was a brat. I can acknowledge that I was a brat, right? You know, from those simple terms, but there's ways that brattiness moved into my adulthood that I tried to ignore and tried to not accept. And so once I accepted it, it was like, yeah, I'm a brat. And what did the brat want? What was the brat looking for? What was the brat seeking? Because when I acknowledged what she wanted, what she was seeking, what she was looking for, I could find a better way to do that. A much healthier way where I could accept the fact that I was a brat and that I would use that information to find another way to do it. So this new moon is asking us, because we've got Black Moon Lilith right there supporting this, to look at the other aspects of ourselves, the self that we sometimes cannot see ourselves, so that we can integrate and be whole, right? If we're just looking at the good parts of ourselves, we are not looking at all of it, and this is not whole. If we're just looking at the bad aspects and not acknowledging the good, this is not wholeness. Wholeness is when we acknowledge it all. We acknowledge it all and we accept it and we do what we do from that point forward. That is what this new moon is all about. This new moon is asking us to look at those beliefs, look at those ideas that we have, right? That need to be transmuted, that need to be transformed, that need to be acknowledged. Because what I've learned on my journey, my friend, is when I can acknowledge the parts of me that have acted and responded and created certain things in my life, that is almost half the battle. Once I can acknowledge it, there's like this sense of like, whew, and then I can decide what I want to do from there. But until I acknowledge it, right? That's why there's the 4 steps of healing. You gotta know that there's something wrong, right? You gotta become aware of it. Then you got to understand what it is. And that doesn't necessarily take years and months to do. It could be quick. It doesn't have to be long. But there's an understanding of it, right? Where then you can forgive it. And that comes when we acknowledge it, we can then forgive it. And then we can let it go. And say, you know what? Thank you. Like, I don't know how many times I've had a conversation with my subconscious where I've said, thank you. Thank you for keeping me safe. Thank you for allowing myself to get to this point. But now I'm ready to release it. And now I'm ready to release it. Now I'm ready to change it into something different. And that's right. That's what this new moon is all about, my friend. So I would recommend taking some time over the next 24 hours to 48 hours. We'll be in this new moon period for a bit, right? We're usually in it within 72 hours before to 72 hours after. It just kind of depends, but we're going to be in here for a couple of days. So take this opportunity, sit with yourself, shut everything off, the phone, the TV, turn it all over, the laptop, the iPad, right? Turn it all over and sit with yourself. If you want to turn on some soft meditation music, if you want to get your diffuser going, light a candle, grab your journal, sit in meditation, grab a crystal to support you. I would highly recommend using, for sure, I would bring out the black spruce that we talked about in the energy forecast. Definitely would look at black spruce for sure to help with the unveiling. You can use that essential oil, whether you diffuse it or put a drop on your hand, rub your hands together, inhale it, and ask for it to work with you. If you want a particular crystal to help work with you, if you've got some crystals, just pick one that is calling to you, right? Trust yourself. Pick one, pick an oil. If you don't have black spruce, pick another oil that you may have. Or maybe you don't have any of those, right? And that's fine. You don't need anything. All you really need is you. These just add extra benefits to us, right? That's it. So sit with yourself, grab a journal, sit in meditation, and allow yourself to receive. Allow yourself to receive the information that you are ready to receive about this new moon, and then set your intention for what it is you want, for what it is you want to do with this experience here, right? Whether it is for the next 6 months or whether it is for just this time period or maybe a couple of time periods, who knows, right? Set your intention. It's up to you. You are in control of this, my friend. You design your life. Nobody else does. You do. All right, my friend, that is it for us today. I hope you have enjoyed this as much as I have. And as always, remember, close your eyes and take a deep breath. And find peace.